Forum says it will help the family of slain football star Senzo Meyiwa to arrest his killers. The late Bafana Bafana captain was gunned down at the house of his girlfriend, Kallie Khumalo, in Vosloorus in the east of Johannesburg in October 2014. Meyiwa's brother, Sifiso, blamed the National Prosecuting Authority for the lack of arrest and finality in the case during a press conference on the progress of the investigation yesterday. AfriForum CEO Kallie Kriel joins us now on the line. A very good morning to you, Kallie. Thanks for making the time this Saturday morning. Have you met with the Meyiwa family?
Good morning, Desiree. It's a pleasure speaking to you. No, we only heard yesterday about the request, so we have not met yet. But from our side, we are more than willing to assist. We believe in a country such as ours, where there's lots of crime, and you have a tragic event where somebody dies, their family needs closure. And if they are failed by the justice system, then we will do what we can, and we will make the necessary resources available to see if we cannot assist the family to get closure and to have somebody held accountable for the death of a hero of this country.
The family has lashed out at the NPA, claiming it is failing to ensure justice in this case. As AfriForum, how confident are you in terms of getting a successful prosecution in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case? From a glance, are there elements that you think could have been solved by now?
Well, I think it would be unfair from our side to now pronounce on something where we don't have all the facts yet. What we will do in the coming week is to ask our senior investigators to get involved and get as much facts as possible, and thereafter we will be able to say what we believe the mistakes were of the NPA. But we don't want to comment at this stage if we have not looked at the facts. I think it would be unfair to do so.
So during the week, you announced in a press statement that you were taking on two cases as well. You also echoing the same sentiment as the Meyiwa family, that the NPA was ineffective.
Yes, most definitely. No, in those cases, we can state that because we have the facts before us. And that is a tragedy because the NPA is something that is a key role player to make sure that we keep the judicial system credible, that people have confidence. And what we've seen with regard to Mr. Tomuyane, what we've seen with regard to the Guptas, what we've seen with regard to Mr. Malema, is that the NPA has failed in their duty. And that we can say with confidence. The only reason why we don't want to pronounce on this specific case is because we have not seen the facts yet. But I think if you look at the trend, it is quite likely that the NPA would have failed again. But that would only be a comment. I cannot state that as a fact because we haven't seen the facts yet.
Senzo was killed in Vosloorus in 2014, and to this date his killers have not been found despite multiple investigation teams being deployed to this case. Why do you think the Meyiwa family think that you are their last hope?
Well, I think because people have started losing confidence in the investigative work of the police and also the judicial system, and simply because there's such a low rate of conviction. And I think the NPA is understaffed at the moment. In many police stations, there's a lack of capacity. Of course, there's no guarantee that AfriForum would be able to solve this case, but at least the family will know that we will focus on it. We will make the necessary resources available. So if there is any chance of a conviction, we will do our very best.
So, Kallie, this week has been a week of discussions, big discussions in the country about racism, and AfriForum is seen largely to be an organization protecting white interests. How does this protecting or taking on such a conversation as the resolution of the Senzo Meyiwa murder case, How does it tie into your vision?
Yes, well, it is the unfortunate thing in our country that many things have become racialized. And if you sometimes disagree with somebody, it immediately becomes a racial issue. But if you look at the AfriForum track record, what we would ask people is not to judge us by perceptions, but the facts. If you look at who we've assisted, we say two things. We look at minority issues, Afrikaans issues, and we're not ashamed of that. But it does not mean if you take on those issues, you isolate it from the rest of the country, and you cannot play a role to make sure that justice is done for all. And if you look at, this is not the first case we've taken on behalf of black people. We've acted on behalf of the Karegeya family from Rwanda with regard to the colonel that was murdered in Sandton. We assisted them successfully. We have assisted the Dube family in the Rizani Zuma case. We have assisted Gabriella Engels in the case against Grace Mugabe. We have assisted the Jimmy Indian family in the Fort Kruger case. So there are very many cases. We're now assisting also a black victim with regard to the Tom Moyane assault. So we've assisted in Kandla community with an education court case against the KZN Education Department. And I think it's unfortunate that people don't see that we take on many cases in the interest of all. But that's, of course, unfortunate. There is such a perception, and we need to work harder to make sure that we break down that perception.
Kallie, just to finalize our conversation, at the same time that the Meyiwa family made the call to you, they also called on the President and the Minister of Police to show more commitment to this case. Would you be willing to work with the Presidency and the Department of Police to try and find resolutions to this case?
Yes, most definitely. I think we have one common threat in this country. It doesn't matter from what community you are, and those are criminals and violent people that are murderers. And we all have an obligation to work together. We are fortunate already that on grassroots level we have a good relationship with many police stations. Unfortunately, there is sometimes places where there is not cooperation, but I think it's time that we don't let political difference stand in the way of something that's a common interest, and that is to have a peaceful South Africa where our women and children are safe, where everybody is safe and nobody stands victim towards murderers and violent people. And we should work together to fight that fight, and we will work with anybody that's willing to work with us, and we will set any political difference to the side.
Kallie Kriel is the CEO at AfriForum. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. We're now joined also on the line by Siyabonga Meyiwa, who is Senzo's uncle. A very good morning to you, Mr. Meyiwa. The nation quite curious about why you would go for AfriForum in terms of requesting assistance with the resolution of Senzo's case.
Well, like Mr. Kriel has just indicated, one, the resources that can assist us to fight this case, because we've realized that the people that we are dealing with have financial resources, and with those resources they are prepared to buy police, prosecution, whomever they can lay their hands on, which then results in the case almost apart. We know that also the AfriForum, for a second reason, they are in for justice. Just as a matter of correction, our grandfather, Matthew Meyiwa, fought so that we have a free society for both black and white. So for us, the fact that they are Africa-dominated means nothing. As long as they fight for the democracy of this country, we will support them. We are for that. And that's what our grandfather, in particular, spent almost 19 years to show that we have a de-racialized South Africa.
From the family's point of view, what is the hold-up in the legal system in terms of getting to the finality of this case and arresting the people responsible for the killing of Senzo Meyiwa?
Basically, you have two competing issues. There's a set of police, which, in our view, has been bought by the family that is, we think is responsible. And there's another set of police that have done, and the docket is ready. So you've got two sets of dockets that are available. And we think that there is a reluctance from the prosecution authority to prosecute on this case. And they've used all manner of, all different types of excuses while this is being done. But in our view, there's a set of police that an investigation in to ensure they divert attention, create side shows, and make sure that this thing goes to the dustbin. And there's a set of police that we have been communicating with that have got the facts. But now the prosecution is dragging its heels on attending to this. And we feel very, very let down. That's why we think the AfriForum can assist us to get to the bottom of this, and then work with the police that are not corrupt. Because we can tell you, I mean, in our view, there are police who are involved in this thing who are corrupt. And there's a set of police that have come up with the evidence and are ready to bring in people to book.
Senzo's dad, the late Senzo Meyiwa, was seen to be the one leading this call for justice to prevail in this case. Why has the family decided to continue on this trajectory?
We will not rest, and any good and South African and right-minded South African can never allow this to happen, because if we allow it, it's going to happen to the next person. So we cannot stand idly as responsible South Africans and let this slide. Because if we allow this, this country is going to be ruled by a minority of anarchists. We must stand for this, and as a family, we are going to stand for this, to show that even if you have money, you are not going to get scot-free. So all reasonable South Africans and all progressive South Africans must stand behind us to say, this is enough. And for us, anybody who thinks otherwise or thinks this because Senzo was a superstar, the message is misplaced. South Africans must not tolerate corrupt officials anymore. And that's our word. And we think AfriForum stands for that. I mean, we've used the president to assist us. We've used Ubabukele as well, and I think they're doing their very best. But they are corrupt individuals who are corrupt the entire system. And we must not allow this as a country.
What you're doing, this action that you're bringing about, could be action about just finding justice for your brother, your departed brother. But it could play such a bigger role in activism in South African communities, about ensuring that communities put the police service to account in terms of the multiple cases around the country where people say we've reported cases and nothing has happened, nobody has come back to us. Do you understand that this could have a bigger impact?
Absolutely. I mean, there's partly that intention, and that as a possible outcome is what we're looking for. Because as a country and as a society, we've become numb to incompetence sometimes of the police and corruption that takes place. There are good police, having said that, and there are honest police people, but they are a minority that is corrupting the system, in my view. And then if we stop talking, it's going to continue. But this, like you eloquently put it, provides us with a crying call for all reasonable South Africans to say, I also have had my case not reported. And then we must stand, and then we must hold this police, the prosecution in particular, responsible. Police must be trained to do their job properly, but also we must get police that are not corruptible into the system, because that's what the problem is. Dockets are missing and statements are not recorded correctly. It serves a particular people, and those people do not have money. And for them, that's why some of these things are not working. So we must fight this every energy we have. And as a family, we've come together, and it was decided initially, to be honest, we looked at it, and then we all decided because we gave government a chance. I've told the minister personally that we will be approaching AfriForum if nothing happens. And we're doing this because we know that these guys have got no friends, especially in the black community, and they want the truth and the truth only.
In the same press conference, you asked for help from AfriForum, but you also called out to the president and the police minister. Now, these are conflicting parties because, on the one hand, AfriForum makes it its mission to make government account. And on the other hand, government wants to be seen to be doing its work. How are you going to be interacting with both parties in a satisfactory manner?
I mean, we think that as human beings, human beings make government. They are human beings, both in both these three spheres talk about, that are interested. We know that the president is interested. Begging the family friend, we know he's interested. But there are individuals who are hell-bent in making sure that this doesn't work. So those people who are here will work together with us to get at the bottom of the truth. I mean, we know that the prosecution is not acting on this, and we're disappointed with the minister. Because he's young, we think he will feel our pain, but we think that he's probably not interested or he's busy with something else. And we want him to account. I mean, we are satisfied with communicating with the police. The police have done their work. But this prosecution, there's something seriously wrong with it. And I think someone needs to understand, and we will get to the bottom of it. And we respect the power they are given, but if we are not satisfied, we are going to make noise as a family. And it's unfortunate that we have to do it for things to start moving. But we will not rest until people are behind jail. We will use every occasion, we will use everything in our power, and we are confident that, there are people who in the community now who are also wanting to raise money together with us to fight this together. So we are going to do everything possible to make sure that this crime call remains a permanent feature in our society.
Now, there is massive public interest in this story, and the public is always curious about your relationship and your engagement with the mother of Senzo Meyiwa's daughter, Kallie Khumalo. Is there anything you can tell us in this regard?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, Kallie Khumalo's child is the blood running through that is our family. That can never be changed. No one alive or dead can change that. So the child is a member. So we are trying to keep that line open, and we are going to keep it open because there's no question that it's part of our family. And as you know, as Africans, we never let go of our family members. No matter what happened, no one can change that. So we are trying to keep that going. It's not easy, but we're sure we're going to win. It doesn't matter what is the end result of this investigation. The child is our child. That cannot change.
So are there any dates in terms of when you're going to start interacting with AfriForum?
We have been interacting already. We've written letters. We're just now waiting for a certificate from the prosecution where they're indicating that they cannot prosecute. But we've been talking to AfriForum for almost, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 months. We were just now with the press making it official so that the people know, so that even the ones that thought they are going to get away with this can now, maybe if they have plan B, go to plan B. But we are also going ahead. We're going to use every resource possible to make sure that this thing comes to light. So the engagement has been going on for quite a while.
Siyabonga Malum.
Thank you.
Siyabonga Meyiwa is the uncle to the late Senzo Meyiwa. You're watching The Agenda. Let's take a break.